This is Moreau talking to Prendick about the ethics of what he's doing. And at one point, he's talking about pain and arguing that it is a historical artifact with no moral content whatsoever. And he writes, I never yet heard of a useless thing that was not ground out of existence by evolution sooner or later. Did you? Now, that's a great jumping off point for one of the most difficult and sometimes contentious aspects of evolutionary theory, which is this notion of utility. And also the notion that evolution is effectively in a design mode, that slowly or quickly, drastically or gradually, in some fashion, is sanding away at parts of the organism or is somehow working toward the organism as a more perfect or more what have you adapted being. Now, a good way to say that point of view might be that evolution is the design studio and that natural selection is the technician. I would like to describe our understanding of selection in a fashion that throws that entire construct out the window and effectively, reassuringly, Moreau is wrong in his argument, but also, more importantly, that we understand that we are not talking about a design studio. Now, I wrote about this already when I talked about elephants' trunks, that it makes no sense to say that the elephants have the trunk, or that selection gave the elephants a trunk because they needed it, and we know that they needed it because they got it, and it really ends up making no sense at all. Instead, we have to talk about the variations that are present across that group of animals. It makes much more sense to start with what kinds of physiological and anatomical and behavioral variants that we see and the degree to which they are inherited. All of that makes way more sense to talk about first as a framework long before we talk about the role of selection in any situation.